Hi, I'm Anna and this is the R5 Leather Workshop. And today we're going to be finishing up the coasters that we started from last week and learning how to hand stitch around them. We'll be doing the stitching without a stitching pony. What is a stitching pony, you might ask? It's a mechanism that will hold leather in place and allow you to stitch it securely. When I first started out in Leathercraft, I just didn't want to spend the money on one of these. They were a couple $100s, or at least the really highly rated ones were, and it just seemed silly. So I went back through and I actually figured out how to stitch all of my items without a stitching pony. And there are actually many cases in many styles where they're really impractical as well. So basically, you do not need these when doing Leathercraft, and I have never used one and don't ever feel the need to have gotten one. For example, I have hand stitched items like this toiletry kit, all hand stitched, no stitching pony. I also made this bucket completely hand stitched, never used a stitching pony. You can do a lot of amazing things without it. So let's get started and I'll teach you how to do saddle stitching without a stitching pony. So first things first, we need to talk about the tools you're going to need in order to stitch your coasters. The first thing you're going to need is one of these pound mats, and you need these to hammer in the holes that you're going to be stitching with. That being said, you're also going to need a set of stitching chisels. These you can find inexpensive through Amazon. The first set I ever bought worked quite well. I've since upgraded to these fabulous ones that I bought from Buckle Guy. These would definitely be my go-to. They're a wonderful price and they're just really great quality. I'll link those below as well. You're going to need a pair of needles, 2 needles with blunted edges. You don't want a sharp point on these. A pair of scissors, a weighted hammer or maul. This one is a 2-pound one from Barry King All. Looking back on it, I would probably suggest a 3-pound one, but I bought a 2-pound when I first bought mine, and a lighter. And you're also going to need a set of wing dividers. So is pull up your coaster, and you're going to take your wing dividers. I tend to set mine at 1/4 inch across. And what you're going to do is lay them down, and you're going to use one point on the outer edge and one on the inner edge, and basically create a line. The reason you will do this with the wing divider over, say, a scratch awl is this allows you to go around in curves and keep it consistent all the way around the curve. So now that I have my line where I want to do my stitching, you're going to grab out your stitching chisels. For this one, we are probably going to need your larger one and a 2-point. So what I typically do is I start where the straight line begins. So you want to be as close to that curve as you can. Then I place this down. I grab my hammer, and you're going to want to hit this pretty hard. Different types of leather do tend to hammer differently, but you do have to give it a pretty heavy whack. And this process actually does take a fair amount of practice to learn how to hammer it down. So don't be upset. That's why we're doing it with the coasters if you make mistakes. So from here, what I'm going to do is actually push these 3 back into here and go again to my farthest edge. This does 2 things. One, it means I don't have to use my little 2-point guy, but also it's going to make sure that I stay in line. So now that we're at the curve, you can't use this piece here. So you're going to have to line up. I always line up one in a back hole to the front, And I just work my way around the curve until I get to the straight line again. Now here's where it also can get tricky. You may find that these don't quite line up and match. So when you get to the end here, you're gonna want to kind of test it, make a point, see where that point is, and see how well they match up. It looks like here they're gonna match up pretty close. They might not quite be perfect, but they're pretty close. So I'll just continue around. So these ended up working out, but that doesn't always happen. And if that happens, what I usually do is I try to measure it out as close as possible. So now that our holes are punched, I always like to check the back and make sure that I actually punched all the way through. It will make it very difficult to stitch if you haven't done that. So now that these holes are punched, I changed my background so you guys can see this more clearly. The next thing you're gonna wanna do is measure out your thread. You got both your needles. So the thread that we're using is waxed thread. It's a braided waxed thread, and this is the brand Ritza Tiger thread. This is pretty much the only thread I use when hand stitching. So what you're gonna wanna do to know how much thread you're gonna need is measure out the length of your stitches all the way around. And then you're gonna want to take 4 times that amount. It may seem excessive, but you really do need 4 times. And then clip your edges. So now what you're going to do is you're gonna take your needle, you're gonna thread it, and then from here, you're going to take the point of the needle partway through thread and poke a hole so that it won't slide off while you're working. And this creates kind of a tight connection. This also takes a little practice to get right. Also, the different thicknesses of thread will make a difference on how easy it is to do this portion. I tend to use a 0.8 millimeter or a 0.6 millimeter, and they both seem to work really well. You go thinner than that, it gets harder. You go thicker than that, it's easier. Now from here is where it gets a little tricky without using the stitching pony. If you had a stitching pony, it would hold it down and you could do this hands-free. So that would definitely be an advantage of it, but this isn't impossible, and once you get the hang of it, it's really quite easy to do this. So you're going to take your 2 needles, you're going to poke your needles through the first 2 stitches. Then you're going to pull them through. You want to make sure, to the best of your ability, that they are even, so that both sides are the same length. Now from here, you're going to take the front one. I tend to always work from left to right. It's more natural for me being that I am right-handed. If you're left-handed, you may find working backward, the other direction is more natural for you. You're gonna take the front thread and you're gonna hold it down, and then you're gonna pull out the back thread. You're gonna take the back thread, go back through the front holes, the front thread's hole, and pull it through. I tend to take both sides and kind of tighten them down at this point. Now I'm gonna hold this, what was the front thread back still, take the thread facing me, I'm gonna poke it back through, and tighten it down. Now you're gonna take the new front thread, hold it back like you did before, take the back thread, poke it through the front thread's hole, pull it towards you, tighten it down. Same thing, take the front thread, or take the thread on facing you, poke it through the next hole, pull it through, tighten it down. Now we're gonna take the front full thread. We're gonna take the front thread, make it tight, and we're going to poke it through. My dogs just came in here and they're making a whole bunch of noise. They couldn't help not be seen. So again, pull it through. Again, you're gonna take the thread facing you, poke it through. Now the front thread is what you're gonna hold back. Take the back thread, poke it through the front thread's hole, pull it through. So you're gonna continue this way all the way around till you get to where it meets in this case. So once you get used to it, it starts to look something like this. So now that we are stitched almost all the way around, I'm going to show you the stitches a few more times and then how to finish this. So again, you're going to hold back the front stitch, take the back one, poke it through the front stitch's hole. You're going to take the one now facing you, poke it through the next open hole. Again, hold this one back, the front one back, come through. You're going to take the one facing you, go through the new hole. You're going to take the back one now, hold the front one back, take the back one, go through the front hole there, and then you're going to take this final one, the one facing you, go through the hole where you started. Now from here, you're going to finish this off by back stitching a few spots. So from here, you're going to start just like you have been. You're going to take this front one and hold it back. You're going to take your back one, go back through the hole where the front one is, like we've been doing. You're going to come through. But instead of moving forward, you're actually going to back stitch this one in the stitch behind you. I tend to back stitch about 2, so that would be 1 stitch right there. Now, same thing, we're just basically working backwards from how we were before. So now you're going to hold the back one back, take this one, and go backwards as well. It can get a little hairy from times doing this because you're getting multiple layers through the holes that you punched. Come back through, and then you're going to take this one and go backwards. A couple things I like to do here when back stitching is I like to finish on a side where it's not going to be visible. So if this is the top of my coaster, I want to make sure that when I cut these threads, they're being cut on what I'm considering the back of my coaster. The other thing is just this stitching is going to take time, but once you get the hang of it, it really is quite easy. And then the back stitching also takes time as well. So now that this is finished, I'm going to take my thread, I'm going to take my scissors, I'm going to cut them as close as possible. And then you're going to get your lighter. I really love these candle lighters. These ones, I buy these at the Dollar Tree. They are the cheapest ones I can find, and they also work really well. I bought more expensive ones once, and they didn't last very long and they worked horribly. I'm telling you, Dollar Tree ones are the best. So now you're going to take this and you're going to melt your ends, and then I tend to push them down. And there, your coaster is finished. So there is your completed coaster. I hope that you found that helpful. And also you just have to love how beautiful these stitches look. I just always love how a saddle stitch comes out in the long run. So I can't wait to talk to you guys next time, and thank you so much for watching the video till the end. There'll be links below for all the supplies.